Recording is on.
Excellent. All right. Thanks everyone for joining, and hello to anyone watching. Today is Thursday, July 10th, and this is the kickoff call for the Fedimint Web Wallet and the Bitcoin design community. So today we're going to be looking at the Fedimint Web Wallet that has been developed by Harsh, who is joining us on the call as part of his Summer of Bitcoin internship. We're going to be taking a look at the wallet as it exists today. We're going to learn about the target audience, what the goals are of the wallet, and where and how the Bitcoin design community can collaborate to support this project. So I've prepared just a very, very short agenda to get us up to speed with the Fedimint Web Wallet. For those who are unfamiliar with the project or haven't had a chance to play with it, this will help us get familiar. Then after this, we can look at, I've compiled some of the screens here of the Fedimint Web Wallet, and I left some comments, so we could take a look at that. Uh, or we could just kind of open the floor and have some questions and answers as things come up. Some of the things that we're going to cover are the target audience. I think it's very important to understand who this wallet is for. Eric earlier alluded that there was one wallet that was kind of mainly targeted towards a mobile native experience. We need to learn about what's the goals with this wallet. Is it kind of mobile first? Is it desktop first? What kind of user base is it? Is it newbies, more advanced users? So we want to learn about the target audience, the key features. Fedimint and eCash is a very big thing. It could be very big. So we want to learn about what's most important that this wallet seeks to accomplish and do well. Take a look at some of the user flows, maybe some design priorities. I'm very curious to learn where the developers feel like they need the most help, or what area is somewhere that maybe the design community can focus on and add the most help or the most value. And then lastly, some of the challenges that you guys as engineers or devs faced when you were building this. I'm especially keen on that. There's a lot of complexity in Fedimint and in eCash in general. So I want to hear what you guys find challenging, especially. So what exactly is the Fedimint Web Wallet? So it's a web-based Bitcoin wallet built on Fedimint. There is a link to the wallet, which I will include in the chat now if anybody wants to kind of load it up and play with it while I'm speaking. They can access the link in the chat. This is a screenshot of the wallet. And before this call, I asked the Fedimint devs, some 404. Did I copy the wrong link? I'll try putting this link. It seems to be working for me. If not, then I'll ask one of the Fedimint people to put the correct link. Okay, yeah, I missed the T, but it should be correct now. So before this call, I asked some of the Fedimint people, some Fedimint devs, kind of to give me a little bit of context about the wallet. So Harsh, you mentioned that it's designed for both
Yeah,
mobile and desktop, correct? That's the goal.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Um, so yeah, with that in mind, that's helpful to know. It enables self custody, which I found a bit. I was intrigued by that because whenever I talk about eCash, I always kind of mention that it isn't self custodial. So I'd be curious to know. But I did see that there was an on chain wallet feature in there, so I'm curious kind of how the on chain aspect functions and if that's related to the self custody aspect. We want to abstract away federation complexity. No central authority needed with federations. It's kind of a feature of eCash. And just allow users to use eCash without really having to kind of know what that is. Just have them have a good Bitcoin experience that eCash can offer. And who is the target audience? Again, I asked before, and this is the answers. And I'm very curious as to kind of where you kind of came up with the idea for this target audience. So the target audience that we have in mind are early Bitcoin adopters. So that to me suggests maybe people that are a little bit more tech savvy, privacy conscious people. So eCash has really, really great privacy. So if somebody wants to transact privately, this could be something that they find attractive. And then people that are just interested in Fedimint, maybe somebody like Christoph who's heard about Fedimint, but hasn't had a chance to kind of play with a wallet or interact with the ecosystem. Maybe this is a way for those kind of Fedimint curious people to start getting familiar with the wallet and having a Fedimint experience. And now we can take a look at some of the key features that the developers have identified as important for this wallet. Some of the things that are key. So I guess the first thing is, in order to use Fedimint, you have to join a federation. So a federation is a group of guardians, a group of people that are running hardware and software that basically collectively, collaboratively, kind of hold the Bitcoin or hold the funds. And if anyone wants to kind of clarify my definition, just feel free to chime in. So, in order for you to start using this, if anyone clicks on the link and opens it up, kind of one of the first things you have to do before you can get started is join a federation. So for me, that was something that I had to go and find a federation that someone had shared with me a couple months before in order to join it. I kind of did that offline. I didn't find a way to kind of see existing federations or any type of federation discovery. So if one of the key features, yeah, go ahead, Harsh.
Yeah, actually, I've added the feature for discovering the federations now.
Oh,
It's
nice.
working now.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, I made this a couple days ago. So yeah, if that's in there now, then yeah, maybe we could take a look at it when in real time.
Yeah, I will show that.
Sweet. Some of the other key features, you want to be able to send and receive Lightning payments. So eCash and Fedimint eCash is fully interoperable with the Lightning Network. So if you have eCash on the Fedimint Web Wallet, you can pay Lightning invoices. You can also receive Lightning invoices. So that's pretty essential for people that are already kind of in the Bitcoin ecosystem. They need an easy way to start using this, and interoperating with Lightning is kind of crucial. And then keeping the traditional kind of scan to pay or receive via QR codes. That's something that is very standard in Bitcoin. We want to keep that functionality. So when you receive and send, to be able to do it via QR. Some other key features, and I think some of the things that now we're starting to really get into kind of the Fedimint stuff here are, well, you do need the ability to send and receive eCash notes. So that's the ability to generate eCash as a bearer asset, as a string of text, and then throw it or send it. That's kind of a unique property of eCash that Lightning doesn't have. So this wallet is doing that. The ability to view transaction history, and something that's very important, I think, is this screen here and this kind of feature, being able to see federation transparency details. So things like, who are the guardians? What's their health? Are they online? Are they offline? Things like that. And then this actually shouldn't be here, this last bullet point, but I believe seeing eCash denominations in wallet came up as a key feature. So I'd be curious to know kind of what that means, if that's like counters or something more technical like that. But I want to pause here on this kind of C federation transparency and details, because I think that this is something that my work in the Cashew ecosystem, we've been doing a little bit of with the Cashew auditor that just shows kind of mint health, speed, um, how frequently it accepts Lightning swaps, so how frequently you can go from eCash to Lightning and things like that. But with Fedimint, there's a little bit kind of an extra layer here. There's multiple individuals or guardians. And my understanding is that in order for the federation to work, that the majority of these guardians have to be online. So giving the users the ability to, I guess, see that live information is very, very important. Do you guys think that in addition to just seeing the the guardians and whether or not they're on or off, online or offline, there's maybe more information that would be useful to the user? Is there any like guardian health software or API endpoints that exist that you think would be beneficial?
Yeah,
Or
there's
what?
actually quite a bit. There's a whole other project called Fedimint Observer. It
Mhm.
could use a little love right now, but the general idea is it's just scraping the publicly available information from all the guardians and then getting an overview of like, okay, what kind of transactions have gone in and out of the federation? What does the UTXO set look like? All that kind of good stuff. So yeah, there's actually a really rich data set that we could I think this would be awesome to present to the users so they have an idea of like, oh, here are the UTXOs actually held. Here's the individual view of the wallet from each guardian. Here's the collective view. It's a pretty wide design space to surface all of that information to a user in a way that's not overwhelming.
Yeah, thank you for putting the link. I'm looking at it now, and I'll just quickly share. Can you guys see the Fedimint Observer that I'm sharing?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was poking around a little bit here, and I see that there's some federations here. There's like a rating system, which is nice. There's an invite code, and yeah, you could see kind of almost like a proof of reserves. You could see like proof of assets here, total amount of Bitcoin that's being held. If I click on a federation here, yep, there's some of the stuff that Brad mentioned. So you can actually see the UTXOs, the amount of Bitcoin. Looks like the configuration JSON. The activity here, volume and transactions. So yeah, there is a wealth of information. These are the actual guardians and their status. I'm not sure what session means, but 3 out of 4. I guess this is the threshold that's required.
Exactly. Yeah. And a quick caveat on the session. This might be blasphemy, but you could think of that as additional blocks on a sidechain as a session count.
Okay.
Yeah. And all the guardians should be roughly on the same session. If they are not, then something is wrong, and that will be shown like as a warning. Same with the Bitcoin block count. They should have consensus on that. The unfortunate thing with this information is it's only available for public federations because you need to run this long-running server software, Fedimint Observer, to actually get that information. So federation that's private, that you might have joined because someone shared the invite code with you, but that isn't on the public Fedimint Observer, you couldn't get this information as easily. Like you could do some of it locally, but for example, what we are also doing is we're monitoring the uptime in the background. Like we're not showing it right now, but we have a percentage stat on how often a guardian is up or down. Yeah, that would also be interesting.
Yeah, I feel like that's probably the most helpful because I think like from an end user, UTXOs and things like that are probably helpful for getting into the super details, but like the most critical thing is, are they reliably online? Can I reliably trust them to basically function and allow me to exit from eCash to Lightning?
Totally agree. Yeah, as I said, there's a lot of work still to be done on Fedimint Observer. That might actually be an interesting topic for another design call.
Yeah,
like it's a rabbit hole of its own. Like just how can we make enough information available to users so they can judge if a given federation is trustworthy or not.
Yeah, 100%. I remember hearing about Fedimint Observer a couple months ago when I was working on the guide, but I don't think it looked quite like this. So you guys have done some work on it since then.
Weren't you in Madeira? I think I presented it there.
Yes. Did it look like this in Madeira?
Roughly.
Okay.
Like maybe it didn't have a dark mode yet.
Okay. Noted. But yeah, thanks for reminding me on this. I actually think, yeah, like you said, there's actually a lot here that might be its own separate kind of project here. But it's good to know, I guess, that there is a source and there is more information that we could potentially include as one of these key features here, which is to federation transparency details. So there is some source here. And is that a hand I hear? Oz, yes.
Yeah, trying to throw out something we've run into at Fedi is, from a design perspective, is the difficulty communicating to a user what it means for one guardian to be down.
Mm-hmm.
So one in a 4 guardian federation, 1 guardian down, you're okay. You could still operate. But from a user perspective, that might matter to you if that guardian stays down for a while. One more goes down, you're in trouble, right? So and then bump that up to 7. Now you're 4 of 7. 1 can go down, 2 can go down, but that third one's the worry. So that might be tricky to think about. Like that's federation health, but it's not. Yeah, it's a whole other layer of like, what does it mean if one's down? Do I care? Is it fine? So I just want to throw that out.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, because it's kind of like you can communicate that, but do people actually understand? Can they make a risk assessment? Or do we need as designers, as developers, to kind of be more opinionated and suggest them health data based on
Exactly. Yeah.
our own risk assessment? They've been down for 24 hours versus they're down once for 15 minutes. Are those the same things, right? So yeah, duly noted.
It kind of rhymes with how do you explain to a new person to Bitcoin what a multi-sig wallet is?
Mhm.
Because the analogy is somewhat similar. If you lose a key, you've properly lost that key at that point. This is like temporarily losing a key for some period of time, and the key might come back. But I don't even know if introducing that analogy is helpful, or it's even more confusing for somebody if they're new.
Yeah, my gut says it's more confusing because the idea of like losing and finding a key, it's very binary. Like you either lose it and it's gone forever, or you don't. And like this is not quite like that because they can come back. But yeah,
Yeah,
I
I
have to think
agree.
about that. Cool. So I do want to move on to some of the more key features, if that's cool. Do we feel like we're good on this?
Yep.
Sweet. All right. So some of the other key features. Let me just share the Figma. Some of the other key features, and this is actually very interesting to me, is this ability to deposit on chain and withdraw on chain to basically transact uh, with on chain funds. Because in the Cashew environment, this doesn't exist. There is no on chain, so this adds kind of another layer to the usability because now you have eCash, you have Lightning, then you have on chain, and this is kind of where I want to go back to that question I asked earlier. You mentioned the word self-custodial earlier. Is this where the self-custodial aspect of the Fedimint Web Wallet comes in? Do we see this wallet offering an on-chain self-custodial experience? Or is this
I
done?
think maybe someone just misspoke, possibly.
It would be an entirely new set of work from my perspective if this was actually a self-custodial on-chain wallet. Not to say that that didn't happen here, but that would be pretty surprising.
Okay, yeah. Well, maybe I misinterpreted then. Is this? Is this what this screen is communicating, Harsh? Deposit on-chain address, or am I misinterpreting like something here?
No, it's depositing on chain address.
So maybe I can chime in here. Like with Fedimint, the eCash is natively backed by on-chain Bitcoin. Like Lightning is more of an add-on. It's totally the other way around from Cashew, where
Yeah, you're right.
Cashew natively builds on Lightning and doesn't offer any on-chain functionality. So with Fedimint, you're always guaranteed to get your money out on-chain. While Lightning, it depends on like if there's a service provider that's sufficiently well connected in Lightning Network. So on-chain is kind of your fail-safe. Like if you really need to get your money out, then use on-chain. Or if you need to make a payment, of course, that to someone who doesn't support Lightning yet. So we kind of have these two ways of interacting with eCash here. On-chain and Lightning both need to be exposed somehow. And yeah, I think that's just what this screen is doing.
Is there kind of, from a protocol level, is there a more preferred way for a user to get eCash? Because if a federation has a gateway set up and it's all working, the Lightning experience should be good. But in general, is it more robust to start with on-chain and then get eCash and kind of start from there?
I would say end users are highly encouraged to use Lightning because
Okay.
Lightning is an instant experience, while on-chain deposits, due to like the private nature of eCash, we have to wait quite a bit till we accept them. Like we can't just accept one or two confirmations because if there's ever a rollback and like the transaction actually doesn't end up in the Federation's wallet, then the Federation is not able to roll back the eCash that it
Yeah,
issued.
exactly.
So we need to be really sure. That means in practice, most federations require 10 confirmations to accept on-chain deposit, which is like 1.5 to 2 hours. and that's just a horrible user experience in my opinion. So getting started, Lightning is the way to go.
Yeah, and maybe this is why, like on the home screen, it looks like we're leaning towards Lightning here with our receive and send.
Eric, I think it like depends on like why is somebody, you know, using this wallet or downloading it to begin with. Like in theory, there could be somebody who like wants to join a federation and wants to, you know, peg their Bitcoin into the federation. But in my view, that's probably going to be a very, very uncommon situation. I think like the more common situation is like, oh, hey, this is an easy wallet. It's an easy way to start receiving Bitcoin, and you send somebody a link to it. And as like somebody maybe receiving their first Bitcoin or maybe trying this wallet for the first time, you're probably going to send them, you know, a couple thousand sats or something like that, and very quickly over Lightning to get them started, as opposed to them already having Bitcoin and going through this long setup process.
Exactly. And
Yep.
I think it's a power user feature. So for people that might have on-chain Bitcoin, they want to like use privately with eCash. Or the other alternative is why you might be using that feature. Someone who is selling your Bitcoin doesn't know about Lightning. And then you need a way to receive that Bitcoin, even if it will take a longer time for you. It's preferable to not being able to receive Bitcoin in that moment. So it's also a compatibility feature in a way.
Yeah, it's like you said earlier, it's just catch-all, really. It's a way to guarantee that if you have Bitcoin, you can use Fedimint, period. Nice. So I do want to go to some of the challenges that were identified as well with the project. So we already kind of touched on number one, how to explain federations and Guardian trust to non-technical users. Right now, we're trying to do that here in this section. There's a bit of like some tech jargon here: API endpoint, public key. So this kind of requires the user to know what that is. I think just this online status, avatar, and name is very simple. But once we start getting here, it's not entirely kind of clear. And then the quorum isn't there. So 3 out of 4. Some of the stuff that we mentioned earlier that Fedimint Observer does a better job of displaying. Maybe we can think about improving that, bringing some of those elements onto here. Visualizing on-chain BTC deposits and withdrawals without confusing users. So I assume that's like in the transaction history. There's going to be on-chain, maybe potentially like Lightning going in and out of the gateway. So those are 2 different layers that you're transacting with Bitcoin. How do we make it, you know, clear which are which? Balancing privacy and usability in showing transaction and federation data. Yeah, I'd be keen to know kind of more about this challenge. Can you tell me a little bit more about this one, Harsh? Or anyone really?
Yeah, I'm happy to touch on this if you don't have anything you specifically want to address, Harsh. One of the things, so if we just focus on the on-chain side, when you're depositing funds into a federation, you already are making some how much detail to get into. I'll keep it high level. Let's actually just focus on the withdrawal side. That's an easier case to surface. If I withdraw funds on chain from the federation is aware of that transaction ID. My client, this wallet, is aware of that transaction ID, but a block explorer is not yet aware of that transaction ID. And if you don't have your own Bitcoin Core node that you can connect to, how are you going to surface some of those transaction details to the user? So one of the ways you could do that is, you know, just reach out to mempool.space with the TX and then fetch the TX info and then present that to the user. But now all of a sudden you've associated this IP address with this transaction. That kind of sucks from a privacy standpoint. So you kind of have this tension between what can you surface without leaking any privacy on the user's behalf, especially without them knowing. One of the approaches that I've been chewing on is, so the withdrawal process is actually more like an RFQ, a request for quote, where you ask the Federation, like, hey, how much do I need to pay in fees as a minimum in order to do a withdraw on chain? And the Federation will be like, hey, this is the fee rate right now. If you request a withdraw for at least that fee rate, we should be good. And then it will satisfy that withdrawal request if you confirm. Instead of reaching out to a block explorer, you can actually start to save some of that data in the wallet at that point. That way you never have to reach out to a block explorer again with that TXID. So things like that, I would say kind of encompass this third point here of balancing the privacy with the like surfacing info about that transaction to the user. And then just kind of as a general theme, I'm very curious about a good UX for what kind of button can we give a user to safely click that would take them to mempool.space with them also knowing like, hey, if you click this, you're leaking information that was not previously leaked. So stuff like that is some of the UX challenges for that third point.
And I guess earlier you mentioned that the target audience was privacy conscious users. So it seems like this is kind of a product question. If we want that group to be the target audience, then we maybe for this particular product, we don't want to abstract that away. We don't want to take shortcuts. So we need to kind of really think about communicating that. So I definitely understand the challenge there.
Also,
different. Sorry, go ahead, Eric.
One question from my side to Harsh is, I just saw like a toggle button that you can use to turn on and off location features. I'm actually not quite sure what that's about. So maybe there's just some confusion there too that we can get rid of.
Just added for the feature for tracking the payments, like where like user can see where they have paid the invoices for the geolocation.
I'm on the app right now. I'm trying to find it. Where did you see it, Eric?
Yeah, in the preferences section. Yeah, geolocation.
Yeah, preferences right there. Like, I was actually quite surprised to see that in the Fedimint wallet. So that's
it's just locally saving the locations of the user so that they can track their payments also.
definitely interesting new concept in the wallet. Just like when taking pictures, then you add the geotag.
Yeah. So if you toggle this on, location will be saved locally. If it's off, then
Yeah, it will not show the location and save the location.
okay.
It will not save the location. Yeah.
Got it. Cool. Maybe so I guess with that in mind, with the overview, maybe we can actually look at the wallet itself. And I'd like to ask kind of what is it that you guys think that you can use the most help on, or what do you find what functionalities or aspects do you think are the most difficult to display from a design point of view that you think are really confusing, that you think that design can kind of help the most with?
So from my perspective, probably anything that sounds confusing to you, but that we might have overlooked, that would be a very great feedback. And the other thing is, like, we currently don't really have, what do you call it even, like a design template or something that's being used, I think.
Like a design system, like a library?
Yeah, yes. I wonder if Harsh faced that problem. Like, at least whenever I was building stuff for Fedimint, not having like a design system is pretty annoying. Like, I typically fall back to some like generic open thing that I can use and take some design from. But then it's not a great fit necessarily for the thing I'm building, or it looks very generic.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of really good, like, kind of open. I'm not sure how open source they are, but there's some pretty open like design systems out there that a lot of people kind of use initially. I think that helps kind of not make the developer think as much for like common things like tables, modals, toggles, and kind of these building blocks. So yeah, I guess that's maybe something that I noticed too was some of there was like some inconsistency in like the way that like the buttons were displayed and like titles and stuff like that. But I think like that stuff's a relatively small fix to just kind of port the existing design into a new design system language. So yeah, duly noted on that point. I also have some, maybe I could share. I did like a small audit of the wallet where I left some questions here, and I'll put this in the chat if you guys want to follow along in real time. This is a Figma board here, and maybe some of this is out of date because it sounds like you've pushed some changes since then. So some of the things that kind of, when I was running through the wallet and doing things, I left some comments on things that I thought were a little bit confusing, or maybe things that I think that design could help improve. And this one I think we already discussed. You mentioned that you've already have a mint discovery for public mints. I assume that that's coming from Fedimint Observer, which we looked at earlier. It had those 3 mints.
Yeah, I'm using the Nostal events for it.
So right now, there is a way for the user to basically find an existing mint, right? Search for mints or federations, I should say. Search for a federation and join an existing federation.
I don't see it in the deployed version. Maybe it's still an open PR hash?
No, it's deployed. You have to leave the federation and rejoin. I can show that if you
Sure.
want.
Yeah, I'd love to see it.
Yeah. Is it visible?
It's all black. Yeah, it's visible.
Yeah, so this is the one. And there are 3 modes in this joining of the federations, like invite code and the QR codes. And if the user didn't have the invite code, they can just explore the federations and select any one of the federations. And it will join. Yeah, it will show the welcome messages.
Mhm.
The federation have set.
Okay, so it's good that there is a way to find a federation. Maybe something that I saw from there that stood out to me was that it wasn't immediately clear kind of how a user can make a judgment as to which of those 3 federations to join. There was only like a name and what looked to be like some unique identifier, like a public key under it. If Fedimint Observer is already showing some information, maybe we could think about an experience where we show some of that information, even things like the ratings, the Guardian health status, in just very plain kind of English, in order to make them have an idea about why they should pick this federation over that federation.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, having a discovery is definitely probably the most important thing, because otherwise, no one can even use it, right? Without a way to find a federation.
And in the deployed version, the transactions history and the invoice one will not work. Like the PR is open in the SDK, Fedimint SDK.
I also
So
had
I have
a.
added the
Go ahead.
yeah
No, go ahead.
yeah. So I have also added the giving summary payments, like giving the total spending and total receiving of the user so that they can track their spendings also.
And this is going to be denominated in sats, like total spending. That's like total Bitcoin that they've sent out, whether that's uh, eCash or Lightning or
Any kind of payments they have done.
okay. Then there's spending result neutral.
Yeah, it's zero out of
Oh, I
zero.
see.
That's it.
Okay, so it's like a almost like a savings calculation. Like, are you spending more than you're saving? Okay, I see. I see.
Yeah.
And is this the idea that this is makes it easier for you people to use this as like a savings wallet, kind of manage their spending?
Yeah.
Is that what the neutral is with the icon there and stuff like that to kind of incentivize that behavior or just let the user know kind of how they're performing?
Yeah, that's what I.
And did this come from a requirement? Did you hear that like are some of the users people that are savers that kind of would want something like this, or do we just feel like this is a feature that is helpful for people? I'm curious as to kind of where this came from because I don't think I've seen this in other Bitcoin wallets that I could think of, this kind of spending score calculator.
Yeah, it will be helpful for any of the user like to track their spendings. So that's why I have added that feature. Like what they are spending in a duration in a month, they can check up that. They are using the lightning payments or eCash.
And how key of a feature do you think this is in terms of uh, the the most important things in the wallet? Is this kind of in the middle and the low, the high?
No, it's not very high. It's just for user only, not very medium. It's low, I think.
Okay, cool. So that's a new addition. Noted.
Yeah.
Yeah, generally, I think like the wallet just got to a point where you might be able to use it as a daily driver. So we don't have a whole lot of user feedback yet. If you have any like insights into how you can get a like user requirements even before you have it out there, that would be quite interesting for like a bunch of different projects, I think. But in general, I feel like you actually need to use it to notice where the pain points are and what is needed, what might be superfluous, and what we could cut away without people even complaining.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, it's always great if you have a pool of people that you can, before you start building, kind of ask these questions. But when you're working on stuff that's on the cutting edge, kind of like, especially like Fedimint and eCash, uh, those pool of users don't always exist. So you kind of have to rely on your own kind of product knowledge and your own taste and your own kind of intuition as to what are the most critical features. What are the things that we should kind of focus on, and then you kind of have to decide what they are, throw them out there, and then that's when you're going to find out if some of them are missing, if there's things that you didn't think of, if maybe you overestimated how important certain things were. So I'm just looking at some of the other key features that we identified. Um, are there any changes made to send and receive? Because when I was running through this wallet, I had issues with the Lightning payment invoice not being recognized by Phoenix or Albi. When I hit receive here and I try to just generate an invoice for like 21 sats.
I can do that.
I think that's a bug. You include quotation marks in the QR code right now.
No, I have
I saw
tested
that.
that.
Like maybe some wallets just cut away any invalid characters around it. But like when you scan the QR code, it has quotation marks in it, so that doesn't work for most wallets.
And then I'm also
I can
curious.
test.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, I have to test it in the Fedi testnet. I have the Fedi testnet only. Just a second.
So this is like a testnet federation where all the transactions will go through.
Yeah. So the payment has been received.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, and the sending is also working. Just that. Yeah, so it's successful.
And I do have a point of feedback. If can you go to receive for a second and click on receive?
Yeah,
Yeah. So there's like MSATs and SAT. I worry that including both of those is just kind of adding confusion because I barely know what MSATs are, millisats.
actually, I have added this for changing the currency. Like if the user wants to do the payments in USD or Euro, so that's why I have added the MSETs one, like a default one.
So if they want to like denominate in USD or euro, you mean like $1 worth of Bitcoin and like they want
Yeah,
just that.
yeah, it will be converted in the MSETs currency.
Yeah, I would say that's
MSETs
something
value.
that you should probably just abstract to the back end. Like you can maybe design something where like they can pick receive in, you know, Bitcoin, USD, euro, almost like I would look at like Wise or Revolut. When you receive, you just like pick the unit, then enter it. And then if it's translating that in MSATs in the background, that's probably fine. But one thing I think that would just make this a lot easier is if we just follow that convention of just enter the amount you want to receive in whatever the unit is, then it generates the invoice and the equivalent amount of sats for whatever that is.
Will improve that.
Yeah, I found that at Voltage that MSATs just totally confuses users most of the time, and I think it depends on the use case a lot. Like if you're making software for someone who's operating a Lightning routing node or something like that, it might be pretty critically important for them because they might need it to set their fee rates and all that kind of stuff. But I think I find for most common users just trying to send and receive payments, it adds another layer of confusion for them. And it's usually not applicable to them because they can't even claim the millisats on chain anyway. So I think of it as just for Lightning node operators, routing operators, that kind of thing.
So yeah, follow-up question on that. Brad and I have been working on this other Fedimint wallet, and like we do a similar thing where we don't say MSAT anywhere in the app, but we will do like decimal places after the SAT. And my thinking behind it was like, if you want to like wipe your wallet, if you want to like sweep it, and you just see a SAT number, you might actually like send a transaction that's like slightly less, right? You might have like a few MSATs left over, which is just a bit awkward. So we have this functionality where if you touch the the balance. By default, it shows just sats, and then if you touch the balance, it will change to like decimals to show MSATs. But yeah, that's something we've also been struggling with, is how to like convey that to the user, because it's, I agree, it's confusing.
Yeah, in that kind of sweep use case, at least in the Cashew, in the Cashew world, this has been an eternal struggle that we've never been able to solve. There's no really easy way. Maybe this applies to Lightning as well. Like, there's no really easy way to just sweep your entire Lightning balance on Cashew. It's almost like you have to play this game of trying to guess the invoice amount for just the right amount to allocate for the fees. And if you're lucky, you might get like within 1 or 2 sats. But someone once suggested that like the wallet should just basically like consider it a donation or communicate it in some ways like that, where if you want to sweep your wallet, it's gonna be X, they're gonna charge like this much in fees, and it's gonna be guaranteed to leave you with a 0 balance. But yeah, that's yeah, send max is good, but the issue comes with fee calculation. I think, right? Because sometimes I hit send max, then I'm left with like a couple sats left over. Because
Then they didn't implement send max the way I conceive of it in my head. I think if your intention is to leave the wallet behind, then what your intention is to exfiltrate as much money as you can while paying as little fees as possible. And in that situation, it's kind of a technical impossibility to do accurate fee calculation, because it's just going to depend on the wallet finding the best route through the Lightning Network. And it's just going to have to try all those hops until it gets a payment that's successful. So just like with any Lightning wallet, this is the same whether you're trying to send max or not. The fee that gets paid will depend on if it when it finds a successful hop. And we kind of, as users, well, we ideally shouldn't have to worry about that, but we kind of have to just trust that our Lightning wallet is going to act in our best interest, and it's going to attempt to it's going to attempt the payment with as small a fee as possible until the payment succeeds. So anywho, as I was saying, I think with the send max button, you just want to try, and the wallet just needs to try and send the payment until it's all done. And you can just provide in the UI a simple estimate of like, this is what we estimate the fee will going to be. This is how much we estimate you're going to receive. We are going to get as much money out of this wallet for you as possible while paying the minimum fee.
So that's a good point. I want to make one more comment on that. So with send max, we can do that for on-chain and eCash. That's really straightforward. I'm not sure what the web wallet does, but that is possible. On the Lightning side, one interesting thing about Fedimint is that the way fees are done with the Lightning stuff is that the gateway sort of advertises fees that it charges. And that's like not dependent on, today it's not dependent on any route finding via the Lightning Network. So say that the gateway charges like a 10 MSAT base fee plus like 1,000 ppm or something. And if the Lightning route that actually is chosen ends up being higher than that, the gateway actually ends up eating the difference there. So it's somewhat funny. You actually could probably do a send max button on the Lightning side when paying to like a Lightning address or something. Something to consider. You might do that.
Just the slight correction here: the gateway will not eat the difference because that would be an attack vector where it could drain the gateway. It will just not choose these routes. Like we set the maximum fee that will be paid for a route.
Right.
I see. That's interesting. So it
But
sounds like
the point is,
but it's like draining a Fedimint wallet is technically more complicated than draining a Lightning wallet.
Well, I think it's actually a bit simpler. Like the fees to the end user are actually upfront as far as like what it's going to be charged. Like on the Lightning Network, you don't really know until you do probing and you find a route, right? Whereas with Fedimint wallets, the gateway says like, this is what I'm charging. So that's why you could potentially do this like send max calculation.
So
I don't think any
you
wallets
make a
do that,
guess
but-
of the upper bound that you will have to pay to successfully route your payment. And then you just pay that upper bound, and any difference, like if the gateway finds a cheaper route, then the gateway makes a profit. If it pays exactly that amount in fees, then it doesn't make any profit. Yeah, but you definitely know upfront what you will be paying in fees. So you could actually implement a functionality, especially if you have a Lightning address or something like that, where you can easily tell the recipient to generate an invoice of a specific amount to just send all. Like it doesn't work as nicely when you have to like ask the recipient to give you an invoice, because then you need to tell them an exact amount and they have to enter it. That's, I guess, a very common problem on Lightning. But with Lightning addresses, I think we could totally do a send all button.
Yep, that's my point. Yeah.
That makes sense. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, thanks for the send max link here. I'm going to bookmark it because I wasn't aware of this. So we have a couple minutes left, or I think 1 minute left. So I do want to kind of maybe leave with some actionable things that we could do. Because I would like to have like another call with Harsh and some of the devs to see if maybe we can work a little bit more closely on this. My thinking is one of the, I guess, the low hanging fruit would be to translate this into already existing design system. Like somebody mentioned, like ShadCN, something like that, or some type of design system where the components already exist in code, and then there's a Figma version of it. That way people can start contributing by going into Figma and start maybe redesigning or reorganizing some of this stuff from like an information architecture point of view. And then when we hand it over to the devs, these components already exist in code, so it should be a little bit easier for them to be styled and more consistent with a design language. So that's like maybe one thing I would suggest that we look into. And another thing would be to kind of just, we've already identified some of the key features. Maybe we can on Discord just pick what are the most important ones that we think that we can ask designers to help with. The ones that we think that users are going to be using the most. So that's might not be things like I'm not sure, maybe like on-chain withdrawal is a feature that we don't expect users to be using as much as like sending and receiving Lightning. So maybe we could focus more on like the send and receive and sweeping a wallet kind of Lightning experience, and the onboarding and things like that. But just identifying kind of what those are would be helpful. Do you guys have any ideas about that, how to proceed or things like that?
Yeah, I think when it comes to prioritization, you are on point already. Like the Lightning functionality is probably the most important part of the application, probably followed by like something like a transaction list. And
Transaction list.
then
Okay.
I think it's also quite important to know what your federation is up to. So, and that's also something that's very unique to Fedimint. So that, yeah, might require some cycles.
Yeah, so I have like onboarding, Lightning transactions, which is like pay send, transaction list, and then the Guardian Health. Yeah, which I think you're very right. This like Federation audit, Guardian, Fedimint Observer kind of making what we're displaying on the Fedimint Web Wallet as user friendly as possible, so that when people are joining a federation or when they're seeing the existing status of their federation, it's clear. Because to me, that's like the Fedimint superpower, is like this federated Guardian system where you can see the health status in real time and the quorum and stuff like that. And I would love to see like that really emphasized more in Fedimint wallets, because I think it's great, and I think it's super powerful. Like when you see the Guardians and their status and stuff like that. So I guess with that in mind, what I can do is on both the Fedimint Discord and on the Bitcoin Design Discord, I can just kind of give a synopsis of this call with what I think we should do next. Then we can pick up the conversation from there. Maybe work a little bit on the Discord, and then set up a call in I don't know when we think is appropriate, maybe like 2 weeks from now, based on the task or the actions that we assign and stuff like that. What do you guys think about that plan?
Sounds good to me, but I'd like to hear from
Yes.
Harsh. What do you think about it?
Yeah, it will be fine.
Yeah, are you going to continue working on this project, Harsh? Is Summer of Bitcoin, because I know it's for a couple weeks, right? But what's your kind of what's
Yeah,
your
I have to.
goals and stuff?
Yeah, so I have to implement like 3 core functionalities, like handling multiple federations and multiple wallets working, and the recovery of the wallet. So these 3 are the main core functionalities. I have to implement that in the upcoming weeks, and I also have to add 2 or 3 features like push notifications and one more other than
We're at
this.
a half point right now of Summer of Bitcoin. So
Okay, you're at the
I
halfway
think
point.
it's still quite a few weeks.
Okay, nice. Yeah, so there's some time. Yeah, cool. I think we can maybe even move a little bit faster to fast, depending on how quickly we can get the kind of updated design system and design language kind of plugged in, because I'm doing a little bit of coding myself. I don't know if this is going to be something that I can do some front end on, or maybe that can be a little bit helpful, even if the code is not 100%. Maybe it starts you somewhere, Harsh. So I'm happy to kind of take a look at that as well.
Yeah, sure.
All right, sweet. So we're 5 minutes over. Does anyone want to add anything before we close up? Any closing thoughts? All right. Well, if not, really good job, Harsh. It's nice to see this a Fedimint Web Wallet be like born, that I can actually use and play with, because I only ever use the Fedi app, the mobile app. But it's always nice to see just something new kind of hit the scene. And I myself, I'm trying to up my Fedimint knowledge. So for me, this is a project I'm really excited about, because it gives me a chance to kind of look at the other main eCash protocol and learn more. So I'm really pumped to kind of be given the opportunity to take a look at this. And hopefully we can drum up kind of more support in the Bitcoin design community. If there's some contributors that are interested in starting on a project, I think this is a really good one. So I'll do my best to kind of drum up some interest from this to the wider community, and hopefully we can get more people kind of collaborating on this.
Awesome.
Yeah, it will
Thank
be
you very
really
much
helpful.
for your time. And yeah. Oh, I didn't know it makes a sound. Yeah. Then looking forward to future design calls, and yeah, seeing more open source Fedimint wallets become really user friendly and yeah, joy to work with.
Yeah, 100%. I'll post on both the Fedimint and the Bitcoin Design Discord, so we'll plan from there. And yeah, I'm looking forward to the next call already. I have some ideas, and hopefully we can have some stuff to share before then. All right. Well, thanks everyone. Yeah, thank you all for joining. Thanks to all the Fedimint people for joining. Thanks, Stephen, for joining as well. And we'll see you guys online.
See you.
Thanks, everyone. See ya.
See ya.
See you.
Catch you later.